Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the Casual Comic Cast. I, of course, am Matt, stating your DC half of things.
And Wes Fontaine here with the majority of Marvel's news.
And normally you have something to get off your chest. I have something to get off mine, and this isn't a rant. This is with what's been going on recently with Justice League. Now, as we all know, Justice League is directed by Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder has now left the project for the remainder of it because of family matters. For those that don't know, I won't go into too big of details, but Zack Snyder's daughter passed away in terrible fashion, and him and his wife have taken leave from the project, and it'll get finished by Joss Whedon, who conveniently was already helping with the project. Luckily, he agreed to do so, and for myself, I'm sure you and anyone else out there, for the Casual Comic Cast at least, we send our concerns and prayers to Zack Snyder. Hopefully everything's good with him and his family, because I've said before, I'm not the biggest Zack Snyder fan. You never want to see anything like this happen. Never.
Well, just because you dislike something doesn't mean that you wish the worst on people.
Oh, no, I'd never do that. I've said before, too, that I think he's great at making beautiful movies. It's just the script is always the downside. But you never want anything as bad as what did happen to happen. So, concerns and prayers to Zack Snyder and his family. And hopefully they recover, and hopefully Justice League is a hit, like hopefully it should be. I mean, we've already seen Wonder Woman looks great. We haven't seen the movie yet, but it looks great. Now we can get into our normal stuff, as I need a drink after that one. We can go off the sad stuff, get into the exciting news of the week. You want to start Marvel or DC?
I feel like we normally start Marvel. I mean, which do you think is the bigger news?
Well, they both have certain big news.
Yeah.
There's a couple big points on both sides this week.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I didn't see any big releases for DC. Like, I haven't seen any. Oh, wait, no!
I've got a couple of things.
I actually do have one thing DC.
Ooh, one thing DC from you.
That I saw. And
so you want to start with that? We can end with Marvel this week, change it up a bit.
Yeah, I guess we'll do it in reverse. But those of you, make sure you stay tuned, because we'll be touching on the Spider-Man.
That suit.
Spider-Man trailer. Yes.
Listening.
Got a spider tie.
Yeah, he's got a Spidey tie. So it's very big Spider-Man news today for him.
Yes. So we will be touching on the trailer later in this video.
Mm-hmm. I just watched it, so I am fresh off of that. So that'll be fun.
But I guess we'll go ahead and start with the DC news, because I got one thing that we can mention. So I guess, do you want me to start with the one thing?
We can go with the one thing.
Okay.
I've got a couple of things.
We'll roll with the one thing. All right. So they released Black Lightning trailer.
Oh, I did not see the Black Lightning trailer yet.
Really?
I had no idea it got released yet.
They released a Black Lightning trailer, and I think it's interesting because
you're a big fan of the CW shows.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I have kind of lost base with them as of late, because the whole deal with them only being on Netflix and not on Hulu, because I watch them mainly through Hulu.
I'll say this: I love Arrow and I love Flash. I did not really get into Legends of Tomorrow.
The second season.
Pretty cool.
Second
season's pretty good.
If you could push through the first season, the second season starts being a little bit better, in my opinion. I still feel like Arrow and Flash are more prominent.
And Supergirl, I only watched the pilot when it came on NBC.
And again, with Supergirl, I think that
I'm iffy on that too.
I haven't gotten through the first season, because I'm with you with like the Legends of Tomorrow thing. Little slow update.
I mean, I liked it, but I just
like Martian Manhunter's in it.
Martian Manhunter.
He at least gets a little time to shine.
I'm a giant Martian Manhunter fan. But I love him so much.
Anyways, back to Black Lightning. So the trailer hits, and I like the way that it comes in. It comes in like he is a retired superhero. He's been retired for...
So we're starting out like Hancock?
Actually...
I hate to make that reference because of Black Lightning, but we're starting out like Hancock.
To be honest with you, yes. Yeah,
oh, no.
He's like a retired superhero. He's been retired for... How many years did it say?
I don't know. But
I don't know, but it's been at least over a decade.
For those of you who may be too young to actually know Hancock, which that would be rare, I think, for an audience that we would garner, Hancock was a movie that came out, early 2000s, I believe. I want to say early 2000s, maybe 2007. I'm going to look this up. But
I don't think it's that important.
I want to know, though, because I'm telling you, right when you're beginning, it sounds like Hancock. And Hancock was not a good movie.
It was okay.
It was not a good movie.
Okay to watch one time, and after that one time, I wouldn't recommend watching it again.
No, it wasn't. It was terrible. Apparently, 2008. And apparently there was actually a plot for Hancock 2. Fun fact. Starred Will Smith. I did not like that movie.
Yeah.
No Hancock. But
personally, yeah, we wound up buying the movie, and I actually I decided to sell the movie because I was like, no. Anyways, enough of John Hancock. What I've been trying to say,
Lightning, which apparently sounds
what I've been trying to say, but he's getting off subject a lot here.
Hey, you sound a lot like Hancock right off the bat.
Black Lightning. So he's a retired superhero for at least over a decade.
Mm-hmm.
He was fighting. I got the feel based off of the trailer and kind of what I looked into. He like retired. He was kind of like the Batman of whatever city he's in.
Okay.
Because he was defending the streets from the gangs and stuff.
So wait, he's retired?
And he's retired, and he's retired. He comes back, and he does sort of seem to know like a little bit of combat. Like that, literally, there's a fighting scene in the trailer that reminded me some aspects of kind of like Batman because he's not using any of his lightning powers.
Yeah, he's just going fist to fist.
Yeah, he uses his lightning powers like after that, and I'm just like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. So I don't know much about Black Lightning.
Oh, neither do I.
If anything at all.
Neither do I.
I'm just going off the trailer and what little bit I looked into, but it did look pretty appealing. That he basically feels because he retires, he becomes like a principal of the school, and so then he and like I said, it's over a decade, and then he feels obligated to come back into the superhero business, if you will, quote unquote. By some means, something kind of makes him come back. I don't know what that is. You don't really get the feel for that in the trailer, at least not what I saw. But it is hinted at that there are other members in his family that have powers because it shows I believe his daughter that looks like she's getting some type of power. So might see a little bit of that in the season.
I did, like you were saying stuff. Oh, well, that was a thing. Okay, did not know. You were talking about stuff, and I was wondering if Black Lightning had any relation to Static Shock. Just curiousness is the only reason I'm looking it up. Apparently, they did face each other,
but they're not actually related.
Apparently,
yeah,
not related, but apparently they did. Well, he teamed up with Black Lightning. Apparently,
interesting.
And he was part of the Justice League. Black Lightning was. So,
all right.
Here's a fun factoid for you for those of you like us that don't know much about Black Lightning.
I think another thing that I would like to say, though, like I think that the series looks nice. I think it's cool that they have like an older guy like that was kind of retired, and like,
it really takes away from what kind of the CW's been, which is a lot of younger heroes.
I mean, Ollie is like.
Well, he grew into the role.
Yeah.
So he did kind of start.
I mean, he started as like a younger guy.
Yeah.
But because he was stranded on the island, he was gone for 5 years, whatever. But yeah, I like it. Based off the trailer, it looks good to me. But I gotta say one negative thing, and this isn't about Black Lightning.
Okay.
This is just an interesting thing that I've just kind of, I don't know if you're aware of. I'm sure you are, being a DC guy. But DC has 3 people that are coming onto the screen. That all have lightning, like a lightning bolt, as their freaking symbol. Like, how original are you? You're going to keep using a lightning bolt for every character you have? Black Lightning, that makes sense.
Yes.
Flash, I can somewhat make that sense. But then you have Black Adam.
Well, okay, Black Adam.
And then you have Shazam. They use the same freaking thing.
The argument made to Shazam and Black Adam is the fact that Shazam is literally just a cop-out of Captain Marvel. The original Captain Marvel, who had a lightning bolt on his chest. So,
okay,
literally that's Shazam and Black Adam.
But still, you have 4
I don't know
characters.
I don't know what created the design of Flash, really. I
mean,
I don't know what created the design of Black Adam, so I can't
If you go and look at the Black Lightning thing, though, his suit, like the way the lightning bolt is designed, it literally... Now, granted, I didn't go put them side by side and compare them, but it literally looked very similar to the kind of Black Adam suit.
Oh, okay.
And then you have the Black Adam movie coming out with The Rock.
With Dwayne, our future president.
And then you have Shazam, that has the same symbol as Black Adam. It's just a different color scheme.
Yep.
So you have 3 people that literally have the exact same symbol.
I mean, I can't say much about Black Adam and the Flash.
There's no originality. At least the Flash has like a circle. There's some little aspect.
There was a reason for Shazam, though. It was just doing what all comic books do, and that's take off of the
I just feel that's not that original. I feel like DC should have got more creative with their character base for that. But
you can say this much, and it happens with both companies. When they're kind of minor heroes, there's never really a ton of creativity thrown at them. Either that, or it's just a character that's kind of just there.
At least what I get in comic books, if a character picks up the mantle, I get that they have like a similar emblem or even the same symbol and whatever. That makes perfect sense. So don't get on me for that.
Yeah. You're just talking about when
I just think that it should blatantly be the exact same.
It's just a guy picking up an attire, and it conveniently looks a lot like everybody else's attire.
A good example. We're not going to revert to Marvel yet. But a good example. We have a different Spider-Man, but he has a different costume, different color scheme.
Black and red. We will talk about him later.
Blue. So
we'll be talking about him a lot later. That's probably what we'll end today's podcast with.
That's just a little picky thing. Again, I
totally understand.
Nothing bad about Black Lightning. It looks great based off the trailer. So, which I recommend you should watch.
Yeah, I'll definitely
since you haven't watched it.
I'll definitely check it out. I didn't even know it dropped. I had not heard a thing about it.
It's been about a week, I think. So
let's go.
There was a few trailers that dropped this week. It was Black Lightning. We had the Spider-Man trailer that we'll talk about in a little bit, and we also had a Game of Thrones trailer drop.
Which I didn't see that because
you didn't see any of the trailers.
I'm so far behind.
You're failing.
I'm so far behind in Game of Thrones. I feel bad about it.
You got to catch up, man.
I don't have HBO. That's the issue.
What season did you leave off on? I have 5 and 6.
I'm either on 3 or close to 3.
I only have 5 and 6 right now.
But I was meaning to at some point. I remember my roommate had them, and I meant to watch like all of them. I watched all of season 1 in like 2 days, and then I just stopped because I was doing other stuff.
Well, since we're getting on a little bit of Game of Thrones rant, I'll just go ahead and like talk about the trailer a little bit.
You can go ahead. I'm thinking about how I want to.
Even though we were supposed to be talking about DC, but whatever.
Okay.
So the Game of Thrones season 7 trailer dropped, and what I really like is they show. It starts off with I believe Westeros is the one that's run by.
Westeros is the main city.
Yeah, it's run by the Tyrians, right?
Yes.
Or am I saying that right?
It's run by Tyrion and Khaleesi. Not Khaleesi.
Khaleesi, you're getting it real wrong.
What's her name? Oh man, she's so hateable.
Anyway, she's the queen now.
Yes,
she's in role. It starts off with her, and she's basically saying she's like, we got enemies coming from the east, we got enemies coming from the west, enemies coming from the south, and enemies coming from the north. They're literally gonna get fucked. Let's just blatantly say it. Like, they have no hope.
True.
So it starts off with that, and then it shows each army as she's saying it. And then it's
every clan.
Kind of like everybody's coming together. I mean, this is the final season, so they're all coming together right now.
Oh, don't do that. Especially since we have talked a little bit about Justice League news.
But they're coming together. So it shows a little bit of scenes like of each army too, and it shows Khaleesi coming over, and it shows her like touch base on the
shores of Westeros.
On the shores, and she's like, it shows her like bend
Khaleesi
over, and
she
kind of like touches the sand, like kind of like.
Ooh, I like that.
Like she's coming home, like kind of thing. Like she's touching the sand.
That's pretty interesting.
As the doors are opening, it's just like you can hear. If you pay really close attention, I don't know if everybody caught this, but if you pay really close attention to the trailer, you can hear Khaleesi.
Jason Voorhees?
Be like saying, like the whole time it's showing like scenes of Khaleesi and her army, it's just like Khaleesi. Like it's like kind of chanting it in like the music. It's pretty, you have to catch it. Like, cause I didn't see it my first time when I watched the trailer, I didn't quite catch it. But I like looked into it, and when I rewatch it, it's definitely saying Khaleesi. or like you can make it out to where it seems that way, anyways. And so it gets you really pumped for her.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It gets you really into her character. I would figure
she's a huge.
And then
huge
it shows the King of the North, the King of the North. You got Jon Snow.
Jon Snow.
And
Even
so
though I was a huge Ned guy.
You got his army, and you get like Littlefinger kind of basically trying to get his sister to kind of like. He's trying to get his sister to kind of take charge and not have Jon Snow in it. And no offense to her and her character, but come on, Jon Snow, he's the leader. Let's go.
He may know nothing, but he
knows how to be the king of the North. That's the one thing he knows. But
Winterfell all day.
That's pretty much the news that we got for Game of Thrones, though. So that's something to look forward to. We do have the Game of Thrones, the next round of the comics, and I believe actually releases June 7th, I want to say, is the release date of the next comic. And actually, it's over there.
It's over there. Here, I'll get it.
So we have just give us 1 second here, folks.
We got comic news here.
For those of you that get to watch us on YouTube, you get to see.
I did not notice this was the cover.
So,
if we can get
that's the next issue. We have Game of Thrones. So the issue, we'll just go ahead and talk about it. I don't know if it's going to show visual-wise. But it's
George R.R. Martin's
A Clash of Kings. And so it is supposed to be released June 7th. So yes.
Winter is coming in June.
That is something to look forward to. Yeah, winter is coming in June.
Winter is coming in June. That was the title of that article, conveniently.
So there you go, folks. There's a little bit of Game of Thrones news for the first time ever on Casual Comic Cast.
Yep. Hey, everybody loves Game of Thrones. That show is amazing.
I still got to finish season 6, unfortunately, but I'm still excited for season 7 nonetheless. Might re-sign up for HBO just so I can watch it.
I will say I'm excited it's coming to an end so I can just watch the whole thing.
Just binge watch it?
Yeah, I'm excited I can just watch the whole thing.
That's what I did. I signed up for HBO for like a 30-day trial, and I binge watched the crap out of Game of Thrones.
That's what a lot of people do, and it makes total sense. Now let's jump back into the comic, film, TV news. And let's jump into Justice League Dark, because we talked about that, I believe, in the last Casual Comic Cast.
I think you touched on that, and because you touched on that, I went out and I bought the Justice League Dark animated movie, which conveniently is actually the voice for John Constantine is voiced by the actor that plays John Constantine in the John Constantine TV show that is now over at CW. Whether they do a second season or not, up in the air.
Well, hey, fans love it, and they want it back.
I personally would love to see him come back for a second season, or at least come back in some tie-ins as the same actor.
But in Justice League Dark news, we do have sad news in the way of Doug Liam dropping off of the movie. He's got scheduling conflicts with another movie that stars, conveniently, the new Peter Parker Tom Holland and Star Wars' Daisy Ridley. I sadly forget the name of the movie right now, but he will be directing that, and because of scheduling conflicts... It sounds like it'd
be pretty promising just from the
the 2 stars in it, making things going to be good. Well, scheduling conflicts with that means he's got to drop off for Justice League Dark. However, they are looking to replace him, and we were getting ready to go here, and we did have some more news here with the search for the director. Now, the front runner for the job is director Andy, I'm going to kill these names, I know it, Andy Muschietti. I don't think that's even how you pronounce it. Andy Muschietti, maybe. Something to that effect. He's the director of the upcoming It remake, which looks great.
Interesting.
Looks fantastic. So, he's right now the front runner. But we have now heard, with the latest article, that Argentinian filmmaker Damien Cifron, I killed it and I know it, but Cifron, however you pronounce it, is also in the mix. He's relatively unknown. They say he's attached to do Universal's $6 Billion Man movie. And he brought the Argentinian black comedy anthology Wild Tales. So I've never heard of Wild Tales. I heard of the $6 Billion Man movie that was going to be made. But those are your top 2 picks. The man directing it and Argentinian Damien Cicerone, however you pronounce it. So that saddens me though. I liked Doug Liman at the head of Justice League Dark. I thought that was a great directing choice. It seemed like he knew exactly where he wanted to go because we got the news, of course, that he wanted to be pretty much an 80s horror movie. And
Which sounds
pretty
sounded
nice. Like such a great idea, especially with John Constantine, because I feel he fits that kind of Evil Dead, Bruce Campbell, Ashley.
I really like that a lot of comics seem to keep
They're
going
moving to the
towards
horror
this genre.
And I'm a huge horror fan, so this is great.
Comic companies, aka Marvel and DC, and like they seem to be branching out, and they are touching all their genres.
Oh yeah,
which is smart.
Well, and this is an argument that can be made for DC a little more than Marvel because of course, Disney being in charge a bit of Marvel. DC's been trying to do a darker universe. We've seen that with Batman vs. Superman, even the Dark Knight movies were a lot darker in tone. With Marvel, they're kind of, sunshiny, good days almost.
Well, that's where you get the little bit of the...
You want
as much as I hate.
Oh no!
I hate to say.
Oh no!
But that's where you get the actual the good part of Sony and Fox actually having rights to this stuff, because then they can actually do R-rated movies for the characters that deserve it.
Let's put a thing out there with Logan, which was a much darker take on the X-Men franchise. Which, boom. And I can't wait to watch.
We have the noir.
I cannot wait to watch the black and white version. The noir version is going to be amazing.
We can watch it later today, maybe.
I'll just say this much. I want just that with Johnny Cash's hurt over the whole movie just looping. I think that would be the greatest thing ever.
I think that would be a little bit too much.
No, it would be amazing and I would love it. But you do have that darker sense now going to most superhero movies, and that's a very interesting take to go with. We'll talk a little more about the horror genre with Sony and especially with Sony
and Fox.
Oh yeah, Fox.
Wink, wink. It's cut.
Especially with Sony.
We'll talk about that in a second.
We'll talk about that a little later. As let's see, do I have one more thing? Oh yeah, I got one more thing we need to talk about DC wise, and this goes into my favorite of the DC superheroes. This will be talking about yours for Marvel at the end. Batman, the Batman to be precise, directed by Matt Reeves. Now, I didn't see an article on this, however, I did see a video by the Jovenshire, who is quite a big Batman fan, as am I. I like his stuff. He's very good at what he does, giving out information, making fun videos. But he saw a thing on Matt Reeves saying that he wanted 3 villains in the upcoming The Batman movie. Those 3 villains...
Hopefully not overdone, because a couple times we've seen too many villains in a movie. And
I'm interested to get your take on it, because I liked Jovenshire's take on it. One was the Joker, which would obviously be Jared Leto's Joker, which I think any Batman fan can automatically say yes.
That makes sense at this point, obviously.
I'm trying to remember...
Since he's already been introduced.
I'm trying to remember one of them, because right off the top of my head, I kind of forget who the one was.
I guess they're not a major character.
No, it was. I'm just trying... another one was Scarecrow.
Okay.
And this is one that he kind of argued about, which I liked his argument for it.
Now, my question is, are they going to be doing a better portrayal? Because I feel like he hasn't gotten the right push.
That we can talk about. And I'm trying to remember who the last person was. And I'm going to do a quick look up here because for the life of me,
I think Scarecrow and Joker, they go hand in hand. I think that works pretty nicely. Based off of just going off of that. Whether they actually work together or not, I don't know. Depends on how they go with the movie, what route they want to do.
Well, the argument he made is that they didn't need Scarecrow. They didn't need to utilize Scarecrow. They could use the Joker. And I have the article here for the movie. Deathstroke, yes. Because Joe, I'm going to kill his name too. This is going to kill me. Manganiello, or however you pronounce that. You can give it a shot if you'd like. Right there.
Manganiello,
thank you.
I would say it's multiple syllables.
Yes.
You don't mush it together.
Thank you.
So.
Well, Joe Manganiello has already been confirmed as Deathstroke.
Okay.
That, for some reason, got wiped off my head. But he's already in the movie as Deathstroke. And I love Deathstroke because Wade Wilson.
So basically...
Slade Wilson.
So basically, Deathstroke and Joker are already definitely confirmed.
Well, I think...
Or only Deathstroke.
We only know Deathstroke as a surefire thing. Joker, I think, is a smart move. Now, the argument Joven made was to get rid of Scarecrow and bring in a guy like Penguin.
Okay, and what was the argument?
The argument he made is it allows you to not attack the Batman, but use Penguin to attack Bruce Wayne instead. So, utilize Bruce and Batman as sort of two separate characters. So, the Joker fights Batman. Penguin fights Bruce, and Deathstroke can go after both of them in an assassination attempt.
Penguin fighting Bruce
in the way of Wayne Tech.
So that would be like a corporate dispute, not like fighting.
Not like
so it would introduce Penguin, but it wouldn't actually get into the whole fight with him.
And you probably could take it there if you wanted to.
It could be like a sequel, maybe.
Yeah, it could fit well to introduce him and have a brawl with Bruce Wayne instead of fighting off the Batman.
So it'd be the touch on him before he gets like a darker feel.
And we do know that what is his name? He played Gaston's right-hand man in Beauty and the Beast. He was sending out things that he wanted to be Penguin in the Batman. I think it fits perfectly into that aspect, and I think it would work great because you could also see.
So who's the actor for the that you said for Beauty and the Beast?
He played the right-hand man to Gaston in the movie. I forget his name. I know it's very the way it's spelled is very small, but I don't know why I can't remember him, but.
Anyways.
I like the idea of putting Penguin in and acting as that fight against Bruce. And Deathstroke can roll both ways. He can be kind of an assassin on Penguin's part to try and get rid of Bruce. Or he could also be working for Joker, trying to get rid of Batman. Because from what we've seen, and this is the big thing with putting the Joker in the movie that I think's the best way, and once again, Jovenshire put it a very good way, we haven't seen a lot of the Joker.
Yeah.
We don't know what this Joker is about.
We kind of get a feel for in Suicide Squad.
He's kind of a gangster.
Yeah. So he's kind of in charge of the underground scene, if you will.
That's kind of all we know.
So actually, with that in mind,
he could be hiring Deathstroke.
I would like that. I would like to see Penguin be the person. Because then you have the underground business guy, and then you have the corporate, and then it's going after Bat and Bruce.
Now,
I like that hand in hand. I like that aspect. So I think that would be a pretty good film.
One thing I like, and this just came to mind when I was thinking about having Joker be the man who put the hit out on Bats. I like the idea of that because it kind of reminds me of Black Mask. If you ever played Arkham Origins, I believe, was the name of the game. It was right after Arkham City. It was kind of the beginning of Batman. It was his pretty much first night putting on the cowl. He faces Black Mask as his first major enemy. That's well known. Black Mask is his first guy he ever incarcerates. So, if you had that, it could kind of be like Joker is his Black Mask much later down the line. And you could even, if you wanted to, not saying you have to, Matt Reeves, could give us almost flashbacks of Deathstroke and Black Mask. Now, I don't think that makes sense to do that. I wouldn't do it. But
I think that's getting too much.
Yeah, that's getting too much into it. But I like the idea of the Joker as this, as you stated, underground runner, just hiring on the hitman to take out the guy who's trying to stop everything.
I think that would be smart. As much as I would love to see a better interpretation of Scarecrow be done.
Oh yeah, I think we all would.
I think the Penguin aspect, I could see that. That would be nice to have him go Bruce, and then Joker kind of go the underground
and personally,
route with Batman.
If you were to do a Scarecrow, and this is just in my personal opinion, I think he would fit so much better as a solo villain. Allowing him a whole movie alone with Batman. I mean, you could have
the
villains.
Fear toxins. You can do so much with that.
You could add villains
especially
in that way.
Especially with the recent release of Injustice 2 and seeing Scarecrow and his much that darker feel to him with the fear toxin. I love the look of his character.
Oh yeah, he looks great.
So if you could take that interpretation and put that on the big screen, I would love for him to have.
I even like the Arkham Knight version of him. It's almost like his mask is kind of sewn together in every which way, almost sewn to his face to a point, and he's got, of course, the injection Freddy Krueger claws. He doesn't really need those. It looks so kind of cool and stupid at the same time.
But yeah, like I think that Scarecrow cool has been undermined, if you will. I think I agree with you.
Give him a whole movie.
He should have a whole movie by himself.
Give him a whole movie to flesh him out. And
that would be perfect.
The fear toxin is a perfect way to just give us like snippets of other villains. Let's say the fear toxin hits Batman in like a bank. He sees the Joker walking up to him because of the fear toxin and just kind of hits him, but he's not hit with anything. He just flies back thinking.
Or you could even have you could have Harley in there. You could have a decent amount of people with that. But Scarecrow
that definitely is the reason they're there.
But Scarecrow definitely being the main prominent villain. I think that would definitely be a good sequel.
And I think they should. What it would be awesome is it's more Batman versus himself, along with Batman.
Like he has to overcome the fear, the fear toxins. So
we just came up with we're looking at you, Batfleck. You hear us?
I'm telling you, dude.
Talk to Warner Brothers.
Some of our talks, I feel
talk to Warner Brothers.
We need to come on board.
Hey, I'm just gonna put this out right now. Anybody at Warner Brothers, I'm writing the script. I'm going to write it. I'm right here for you. Batman Beyond's coming my way. But that's all I got for DC news. This was kind of the big drop in my opinion, seeing that he wants to give us so much. And it could work, just you got to have the right core in there.
I would be interested to see what he did with Scarecrow, but I agree with I think Penguin would be the better choice.
Especially
and Scarecrow
using it in more of a business sense instead of a pure villain sense. Almost like the way Gotham uses them.
Yeah. Right. Which, again, I'm still going to say it. Batman's universe should really just be a Batverse, and it should spin off of Gotham. I'm just saying.
The DCU, the Batman Cinematic Universe.
Screw Batman being in the DCU. Make a Batverse.
The VCU. Batman Cinematic
Best thing that DC could ever offer anybody. But
let's hop over to the Marvel side of things. What do you want to start with?
That is a really good question.
I mean, we can. I've got some Deadpool stuff if you want.
I think most people know we've already touched on Logan. Logan's release came out. So if anybody hasn't seen that yet, or you don't have a copy, I recommend going and checking that out.
Yes.
Very good.
If you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to buy it just yet, find a friend, because I guarantee you have a friend who's bought it. Go to their house, watch it.
AKA, what do you do with me?
Well, I plan on buying it at some point, so don't worry about that. That movie is a must-have for anybody.
Yes.
Go to their house.
Me being a steelbook collector was a must-have. I pre-ordered months in advance. They didn't even have a picture showing for what it looked like because I knew it was going to sell out. And
got a problem.
It is sold out. So I am glad I pre-ordered those in advance. I pre-ordered while that thing was still in theaters.
Well, it was that. Hey,
because it's Hugh Jackman's last movie. You got to get that.
You got to get it, and it's arguably the best portrayal of Wolverine we are ever going to see.
Yes, I agree. But, so there's...
Speaking of X-Men, how about we just jump right into that?
We'll just continue with the flow of Fox.
Since we went right from Logan, let's keep going with Logan. Because news that I'm astonished to hear is that apparently Fox is either listening to us or someone has the same mindset as us and said, you know what would be a great idea? An X-23 solo film sometime in the future. And you know who's going to star in it? Daphne Keane. And what did I say when we did our Logan review? Daphne Keane was amazing in that movie, and she deserved X-23. We're gonna get it. Solo movie with Daphne Keane. I'm hyped.
Which I love, because Logan was such a good movie, and to continue that kind of... Because, let's be honest, yes, Logan takes place in the same X-Men universe as all those other movies and everything.
It's not canon to the storyline according to Fox.
But at the same time, I would be happy with the thought process of Logan being the start of a new franchise.
Oh, yeah.
And then spinning into X-23. Like, I could actually be happy with forgetting the other ones. And just Logan be the star and X-23 be the star that I watch from the movies to come.
Oh, God, yeah.
And
you couldn't have a better beginning.
Yes. I mean, as sad as it is to say,
you couldn't have a better beginning.
A good beginning can sometimes spawn from a good ending.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I would love that.
Really, if you look at, since it is, as Fox stated, uncanon from the actual storyline.
I was going to say actors.
Yeah. It's uncanon from the storyline that we're now seeing with X-Men. You technically could take it as it being the beginning of a new run.
Yeah.
And the fact that they are as dead set as it seems. Now, the article I said likely to return for Daphne Keane. She's coming back. You know they're going to try their hardest.
There would be no
her
reason
back.
to not get the same actors.
Not to mention, she literally was Wolverine. She was just as much Wolverine as Hugh Jackman.
I think everybody would be disappointed at this point after she's been introduced. Because if you keep the same actress, that gives the fans... You're still kind
connected.
of attached.
You're connected.
Because you had that whole Logan, like Hugh Jackman.
Like, it's X-23.
And I think it'd be the smartest way to keep the same actors.
Not to mention, I think an X-23 solo movie allows for a lot of cool flashbacks with maybe Logan, but in a way where we're seeing Hugh Jackman still as Wolverine, but in these flashbacks instead.
I'm not 100% sure that you would get that due to the fact that she only had a short time with him and it was pretty much all already in the Logan movie.
Well, I'm just saying we could get that. I'm not saying we will, and I don't think we will.
I doubt it because I don't see Hugh Jackman picking it back up again unless it goes to Marvel because Hugh Jackman's already said he wants to be in the Avengers. So unless it goes to Marvel,
so good though.
It's not happening.
Nonetheless, Daphne Keane as X-23, amazing. I'm excited for the solo movie.
Continuing with the aspect of Fox, we have the whole Deadpool verse, or the Pool verse, or the Dead verse. How would you want to say that?
Deadpool universe.
I don't know. I kind of like Dead verse or the Pool verse.
I think the Pool verse is actually the way Deadpool would say it. So Pool verse. We're gonna hit that. We're gonna go with that. Ryan Reynolds. Hopefully you can confirm that.
The Merc verse.
That's not bad, actually.
I'm telling you, man.
I want to go Poolverse solely because...
Poolverse sounds good. I like it.
I would love the idea of it being a literal pool, followed by the word verse, and Deadpool jumping into the pool.
You know, I could see Deadpool actually making a joke out of making his own universe and saying Poolverse. I'm telling you, man. We come up with these ideas.
Marvel
or DC.
This is what's going to happen. He's going to be talking to Cable, and Cable's going to say something. He's going to be like... I hate this universe. No,
I'm making my own.
We're making my own universe. I hate this whole X-Men thing. You can never keep it straight. This is now the Pool universe. Yeah, that works. Something to that effect. I can see that.
I like it. So
Ryan Reynolds, if you're watching.
Casual Comic Cast has now, we're calling it the Poolverse.
The Poolverse.
So it's in the Poolverse, we have the Deadpool sequel. We already know. We also have the New Mutants.
Yep.
That will be taking place in the same universe. And the awesome news with this is it will be no suits horror movie.
Yep. And in the
Demon Bear. Demon Bear is the villain, which we kind of... I was a bit. I thought it was a bit odd, but the synopsis here. Let me see.
You have the synopsis. I didn't see the synopsis.
Say whatever you're going to say while I look it up.
As the director put it, because I have it in here in my notes, it is. Where is it? Where did I put it? It is a horror movie with no superhero costumes. I love the way he put it because it's just like he straight up meant somebody's gonna.
All right, so I have a quote directly from it. So. Held in a secret facility against their will, 5 new mutants have to battle the dangers of their powers as well as the sins of their past.
Ooh.
They aren't out to save the world. They're just trying to save themselves.
That's fun.
So they're in a
That's good.
They're in a secret facility, which kind of makes me feel like if you think about it, just think about X-Men, and you know, like they have their like little base where like the Xavier School, where they actually have like the they actually have the virtual world that they go in and like they do their training.
Their holodeck.
I actually sort of view it as maybe they're in a training thing and they don't know it.
Ooh,
and that's where they face Demon Bear. So Demon Bear is maybe not real and it's like a virtual thing. Ooh. That was my mindset. Whether they go that route, I don't know.
That's possible.
But a secret facility, I could also see that they do testing on the bear, and that's what makes the bear, and then that leads into a whole like the bear gets out and like kills everybody off, and these 5 mutants they have to find their way out against the bear.
I could see.
So I could see either one of those takes.
I could see it being the bear's out, tormenting everything. They see it as their responsibility to go get them. Maybe break themselves out, or
no, they were in the facility too, and the bear's just killing everybody. They trying to save themselves. It says save themselves.
What might be a better idea is maybe they break out of the facility, and the bear is utilized as like a security protocol. That's a possibility.
So we just came up with 3 possibilities without, in my opinion.
I think that last one makes a good amount of sense. They find a way out, and the bear's used as security protocol. I think
the training thing, that's a little bit off, but I like the fact of my second idea and then your idea, the third idea. I like those where they actually are, they're trapped in a secret facility, and the bear is actually created from testing, and then that causes a whole horror-based situation where they're trying to save themselves.
Well, and from the sounds of it, it sounds like they're not going to care about the rest of the people around them. So if like somebody starts picking on them or insulting them for something, we could see them literally kill a guy just walking on the sidewalk. So stuff like that could happen. People are just looking at them like, then they take off and run. They feel like something's going to happen to them. Maybe they start.
I'm not 100% sure that it's blatantly going to be them killing people, because I think the film is still rated PG-13 right now.
Really?
Even though it's horror-based.
Okay.
Maybe they'll change it to come, but I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe it's still supposed to be PG-13.
Well, I mean, you can make good PG-13 horror. So,
but
we'll see just how they do.
Then we have, let's see, yeah, we're making a full-fledged horror movie set within the X-Men universe. There are no costumes, no supervillains.
No supervillains?
We're trying to do something very, very different.
Well, it's different, all right. That's for sure.
I like that.
Well, it's going to definitely be let's see where they take it. That's for sure. It sounds promising. We can say that much. But until we see it on screen, that's going to be the question mark.
Yeah.
That's going to be the question mark. It sounds great.
It sounds good right now from what I know.
The image you can put in your head is good. They paint a good picture. Question is putting that on the screen. And if they can get it right, it should work out.
And I'm interested with a lot of these horror-based superhero kind of things, because we also have from the Sony side of things, we have Venom. We have Tom Hardy.
Before we go into that,
Hardy playing
Before we
Venom.
go into that, we talked about the Poolverse. And I got a little news about the Poolverse. And this has to do with Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2's done some casting. And they have casted an actor from The Stain. I never watched that. I've heard much about it, but I've never seen it. They hired Jack Kessie. And he's possibly, this is what they believe, he's a major villain. We know that much. Possibly playing Black Tom Cassidy. Now, when I first heard the name, legitimately, I said who. Yeah. Because that's a name that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
I didn't go into too much research on it because I had other things to look for. So I was like, okay. From the image, he looked kind of like a warlock almost. He gave that kind of feel to him. But I don't know how it's going to go. We'll see. It's in Deadpool, so I have strong hopes for it. Any news coming out of the Deadpool side of things is kind of like, okay. I feel like it'll probably be good, though. It's kind of that now. We'll see how it does. I've never watched The Stain. I know apparently it was pretty good. Or at least the portions that have come out already. Pretty good. But we'll see. Black Tom Cassidy.
And then continuing with the casting news, and I don't know if anybody caught me before he started talking about his. Tom Hardy will be playing Venom in Sony's Venom movie.
Yep.
So originally I was a bit skeptical on Sony doing their off thing, other than I was excited to see Venom in a rated R horror-based film because I think that fits Venom. But with the casting of Tom Hardy, that actually makes me even more excited for the film.
Oh, it's a perfect casting. When I remember back when Spider-Man 3 came out and we saw Topher Grace as Eddie Brock, the first thing that went through my head is, that's not Eddie Brock. Because we all know, at least for us that watched Spider-Man the animated series especially,
he's like a big jockey asshole.
He's like Bill Goldberg or Brock Lesnar built, for the most part. He's huge. Tom Hardy is huge.
Yeah.
He is the perfect role for that. Not to mention, we saw what he did with Bane. He can make an intelligent Venom. We really could see the transformation from the hardcore horror villain Venom to the anti-hero Venom in this movie with the way Tom Hardy can play a character.
I'm just a little, like, again, it's horror film, so I get that Venom would be the only one in it. But what I really think that this is just me, but they somewhat showed the symbiote in Amazing Spider-Man 2. And I really, really feel like if you are not going to put Spider-Man in the film, and you're gonna do just Venom, you can't have the symbiote suit it just kind of fall out of the sky situation. You need it to come from somewhere. I think that they should continue the Venom solo film the way that they were gonna continue the Venom solo film in that same I almost said Spideyverse, but the same universe that they were building before. Have that be a spin-off thing, because if you think about it, X-Men has had its fair share of movies that have, in some people's mind, flopped.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, and Sony has too. That's why they made the deal with Marvel.
Indeed.
But you've also seen that Fox has come back with the very good movies like Logan and Deadpool. And they've really rebooted their franchise and given new faith to Fox.
New life to Fox.
And so people aren't hating them and saying that they're the worst other than Fantastic Four.
I don't think anybody hated them.
Well, people definitely don't care for Fantastic Four when it's Fox. But they definitely are. Those two films are saving their thing. So if Sony really wants to continue their own universe, making Venom be in that same thing that they started with Amazing Spider-Man 2, that could actually redeem their universe. Because I have faith now that Tom Hardy's in it, I think that this could be a good film. And now it's still spectacle just because of Sony, but I'm having a little bit more faith in the film.
I have a thing that I think we can talk about at once we go over
if they continue that verse, they could mend the wounds with Andrew Garfield.
Well, I'll say that.
I'm just saying.
I want to bring up my point to this. I will say I have some I want to talk about here. Once we go over the other Sony Spider-Verse films that have kind of been talked about. I like the idea of kind of like taking up where they left off in Amazing Spider-Man 2 to run how the symbiote shows up. The issue with that is now you're tying it to the Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was not taken critically and casual customer-wise very well. You kind of have to move away from that. Now, one way I think they could work with the symbiote...
But again, though, X-Men films have flopped, and they've still kept the same actors and stuff, and they've redeemed themselves. So it can be redeemed. You just got to know what you're doing.
I will say, though, I think the way they need to roll with it is they need something to happen with the symbiote to kind of not really give it a life of its own and make it its own character, but they need something to make the symbiote seem like almost a villain in its own right. And you've got to make that point known early in the movie. You can have Eddie Brock let's say they do this. This is just me painting a picture here to what the movie starts as. Let's say we see Eddie Brock in high school, and he's picking on somebody. We don't get the full shot of who he's picking on. We just get a back shot, and let's say it looks like Tom Holland. They make it look like Tom Holland, so, put two and two together, it's Peter. So he's insulting Peter and all that. He's picking on him. And then we cut to this, that place they went on field trip in the original Spider-Man movie. I forget the name of it. What was it? It was like a arachnid museum or something?
Yeah.
Something like that. Well, we go to a place like that where they're...
Well, no, there was a field trip. Move on.
Whatever. Well, we cut to there, and somebody's bringing in the symbiote. And we can see the symbiote's moving around in this glass casing. It looks very similar to the theory everybody had with Life. It looks kind of similar to the case they had in Life for that, what everybody thought might have been the symbiote. You have it like that. It's moving around in there. It's kind of moving on its own. It busts out of there while they're there on the field trip and kind of combines itself to Eddie there, but not entirely.
The only thing is I don't see Tom Hardy playing a kid.
No, I'm saying Tom Hardy doesn't have to be in, or Tom Hardy, yeah. Never mind, you're right. This would have to be an adult Eddie Brock.
It wouldn't
thought
work.
about that.
None of that theory would work.
I so badly want the actual...
He's too much older.
Yeah, I just thought about that. I actually want the legit backstory for Spider-Man that I went too far out.
Not to mention, if you touch on Spider-Man at all, it'll make no sense why Spider-Man's not there when Venom's doing whatever the fuck he's doing. So, I wanted the actual Spider-Man. I'm actually going to go back and actually say that I'm actually not. Like, I like Tom Hardy, and I think that he'd pull off a good Venom, but I still actually do not have faith in Sony to pull off the film, because you can't really do Venom without Spider-Man, whereas Spider-Man is now with Marvel.
Okay, now this is an argument I can make for Venom without Spider-Man. Venom
is created because of Spider-Man.
No, he's not. The symbiote is a thing of its own. It has nothing to do with Spidey.
But he still took over Spidey. That's what led to Venom.
He doesn't need...
His origin came from him.
The symbiote can hop from body to body. We've seen that plenty of times. So the symbiote doesn't go to Peter at all. It jumps straight to Eddie. So we are seeing a straight up...
But why would it take on the form of a spider aspect? Because that's where it got it from Spider-Man. That's why Venom is
Maybe it combines with a Black Widow at some point. I don't know. They're going to have to find some way around it. I don't know how they're going to do it.
My point is, it's a little bit far-fetched that in this
Well, I'm just saying, you don't need Spider-Man in the movie. You don't.
I mean, it being a horror-based film, it makes it sound, though, that literally you're just going to have a symbiote take over Eddie Brock, a.k.a. Tom Hardy, and you're going to just have... He's just going to go on a murder spree is pretty much what it is, of people that nobody gives a crap about. So it's going to have absolutely no meaning. There's going to be no other characters in it that have anything to do with Spider-Man.
This is an argument I want to make, and I want to see if you agree with this. What if the first movie is mainly, Venom going just insane, killing a lot of people, Eddie fighting off the symbiote to a point and kind of normalizing it. So he kind of takes back control. There's still a little bit in his brain that kind of keeps coming back every once in a while, but he normalizes it.
They could play it off like he's possessed, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, to that effect, and he fights back. There's still a little bit that kind of stays inside of him.
Like he's crazy,
where
he has like
snaps
hallucinations and does whatever.
And what if, at the end of the movie, we get just a scene or a shot or something of Cassidy? You know Cassidy, right? He's pretty well known. He's a murderer. He's a serial killer. He's kind of got this symbiote attached to him that finally can give us a Carnage Venom movie because he needs a villain. If you're going to make a sequel, there's the reason you don't need Spider-Man. Carnage versus Venom is the perfect setup. It's going to probably be an Eddie Brock versus Venom type of movie to begin. You just need to take us to a way where we can get Cassidy versus Brock.
Yeah, I could actually. Yeah, with that theory, if Sony did that route, I could actually see it starting like a whole new universe, if you will, spawning from a, as weird as it is to say, from a horror movie, from where Venom is just kind of massacring everybody, and you don't care about anybody. 'Cause it's not really referencing anybody. Maybe you'll get a few Easter eggs, possibly.
Maybe you'll get like a Mary Jane sighting at some point, just because in the background you're not able to tell too much.
But yeah, actually, if they did that route, I could see me being more into it.
I think that's the only way to really keep
it'd be
it
an
going.
internal fight. And then it could lead into, like you said, a sequel, which would be Venom and Carnage.
Venom, and easily titled Venom.
Because at
Carnage.
At that point, then Eddie Brock would supposedly have regained control.
And he would allow the vicious side of Venom kind of to take over when he fights Carnage.
Well, maybe, but he basically regains consciousness and knows that it's wrong, whereas another symbiote basically takes over this other person, and he's like, okay, I know, like, I got to stop them from doing what I did, kind of thing. Well, so I could see that. So then it's not another horror bait. Well, it could start off as like it could be a thriller as the next one or something. Well,
it would still, could still kind of keep it as a horror-based thing.
Yeah.
You have a serial killer.
True, because you got like Freddy versus Jason kind of situation. It's like, but Venom, it would be a comic book version.
It would be it's a good way to put it. Comic book
Venom versus Carnage.
Hopefully done better than Freddy versus Jason.
So yeah, with that in mind, if Sony actually does what we just fantasize about.
I like the idea of kind of a self-struggle.
It could give them a good universe.
It works out in the end.
But whether let's go ahead and continue to Sony. Okay, so Silver and Black being the title of Silver Sable and Black Cat. Their movie, they have now a title and a director.
And it's the director of the pilot of Cloak and Dagger.
Which is very interesting. So there's those ties, which actually
well, let's see if I can get this name right. Gina Prince Bythewood. I think I got that one right.
So it has a little bit of ties to Marvel.
She is directing the pilot to Cloak and Dagger.
I will touch on that in a second, folks, because I do have a little thing. But, yeah, so Black Cat and Silver Sable getting their own movie.
Now, I don't know too much about Silver Sable. I know Black Cat fairly well.
Which, personally, is one of my favorite characters from the Spider-Man series.
You love Black Cat more than... Okay, this is like Black Cat, Spidey. It's like right there, almost.
I think the two kind of go neck and neck, like, because I really want to see them together in a movie.
Yeah, I know you do.
I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
You want that as bad as I want the Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman love triangle in Justice League.
I just really want to see Spider-Man and Black Cat in a movie together, teaming up. Like that, like kind of a little bit of struggle. Like she's a thief.
You want that Catwoman Batman connection?
Pretty much. I want it bad.
You want it really bad.
I don't care if it happens in its own universe. Just a standalone movie just happens one time. Somebody give me the damn movie.
You want it as bad as I want my Batman Beyond movie.
But anyways, after that, so I'm excited that Black Cat is getting... Black Cat is getting a friggin' movie, to say the least. I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun.
Whether it's done well or not, I don't know. But I'm just excited she's at least getting some time on the big screen. And whether it ties in with this whole Venom movie or not, again, I don't know. But it'll be an interesting thing to see. Do you have something to say before I spin off? Because I'm about to spin off.
Are you about to spin off into your Spider-Man talk?
No.
Okay. Well, I want to do it before you get to Spider-Man, because I have something I want to say about the Spideyverse Sony's trying to run.
Well, kind of what I'm about to say also kind of has to do with Spider-Man. It's going to be one big
loop.
Let's
just go to mine and we'll bounce into yours.
Okay.
Now, I was watching a Nerdist video, and they were bringing the idea of Sony doing a Spider-Man-less Spideyverse with these movies. So
you have a
Venom,
Venomverse.
Well,
Venom actually does have his own universe.
I know. Yeah, as an anti-hero. So, I mean, that's a possibility, but...
Actually, that could be what they're doing.
That's what I was thinking they might be doing. But, the way I was looking at it, and I didn't look at it straight away being a Venom type of thing. I looked at it being a possible Spideyverse, because, of course, the situation with Marvel, they might take Spider-Man back. Who knows if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But we know Venom, we're probably not going to see Spider-Man in it, judging from what we know now. No Spider-Man. Black Cat, Silver Sable.
Possibly.
Do you think it needs Spider-Man, though?
No.
Okay. Now, this is
that one I can actually see Black Cat. Black Cat is definitely more of a hero in my mind than a villain.
Exactly. I argued the same.
I can definitely see that.
I don't think we needed Spidey in that one. This is where I came to a standstill. This is where I said Spider-Man's needed. Sinister Six. Do they need Spider-Man to make that movie? I say definite. Because you don't have someone from the Sinister Six to fight without Spider-Man.
Are they really still in the works of Sinister Six?
And it's supposed
not unless they fight Venom.
It's supposedly
they could alter it.
It's supposedly supposed to come out during this situation with Tom Holland during his 6 movies. So, or at least it's going to be in production while that runs going on.
What I would like to propose is, because comics change all the time and they change it going into movies and everything. I would say that maybe Sony is going off on a limb and treating Venom
like Spidey?
Like Spider-Man. And instead of Venom being in Sinister Six, they replace Venom with somebody else. Because we know there's been different people who take on the role.
People who jump in and out.
So they could go against him.
It's a possibility.
Maybe the whole Carnage situation, Carnage would fill the role of what Venom would be in Sinister Six.
Oh no!
And then they fight.
I don't think Carnage would work well with others.
Yeah.
Carnage doesn't work well with others.
Okay, well no. Here's the thing.
If they
did a Venom sequel prior to Sinister Six, which I doubt they're gonna do.
I doubt.
But if they did, and they did the whole theory like we just said, of Venom versus Carnage, and Venom is kind of being the anti-hero now instead of the horror.
Instead of the
so he changed, so he's altered and he's doing the good guy thing.
He's rocking his trench coat.
So then you spawn off of that. The Sinister Six is kind of doing their thing. They see what he did with Carnage. They see that situation. Then they go after him.
That's a possibility of them using Venom as Spidey.
Because that's the only thing that I could remotely see happening.
I'll agree. I think that's the only thing. If they're going to not use Spidey, it's the only thing you can do.
If they don't use him,
unless Black Cat's gonna be your target, but why are they going after Black Cat?
That's what I was just about to say. If they don't do Spider-Man and they don't do Venom, then literally your next best thing that you've introduced, anyways, would be Black Cat, and that would make no freaking sense for 6 different people to team up and go against Black Cat.
Yeah.
Because I like Black Cat and all, but I don't see her fighting off 6 different people unless it's Silver Sable and Black Cat versus 6 different people. But nonetheless, I think that storyline would make no freaking sense.
Yeah. This was the one where I came to a point and I was like, you kind of need Spider-Man for that one. Now,
unless you did the Venom thing.
Unless you're going to do Venom, which I think makes sense.
I think it would be an interesting fact to see. I would like to see it.
I'll agree with that. It's interesting.
I would see it from an interesting
And the positive that comes out of it is it does lead into a good way to bring Venom into the Sinister Six when Spider-Man is introduced, if he's introduced. That's the positive out of it. Everything else is a giant question mark. But that would be the positive. It would at least give him kind of an introduction to the Six.
The only necessary...
and then if he would be a villain to Spidey, he can join.
The only thing is, though, is if they bring in Spider-Man after all this, and Venom were to join Sinister Six if they treated Venom like Spider-Man with the Sinister Six situation, the issue with that whole thing is all of this is taking place before the introduction of Spider-Man in this new universe. So therefore, he would be kind of like a kid or like a new superhero coming into this thing. And then you already have this team of 6 people that are like, hey,
well,
the problem would be is you have a connection with the villains more than the hero at that point. So then it would be like the hero is treated like the villain.
Yeah.
Like you're treating the Sinister Six would be like the Avengers taking on like a big villain.
Yep.
So that would like completely and utterly ruin everything in my mind.
I mean,
Yeah. I
don't think they can do Sinister Six without Spidey. It just doesn't make sense.
We're going to roll with this because this is what I was going to go into. So, right now, as far as we know, Venom and Silver and Black, whole different universe.
Yep.
Sony's saying,
No Spidey.
screw you to the
No Spidey.
MCU. We're doing our own thing. But we have that little bit
Time
of
out,
tie.
time out. They did put in the. This actually has to go into that. They did put in the tweet with Tom Hardy. Their, what was it? I think it was. Was it non-Spider-Verse or something to that effect? It was like something on the fact of there would be no Spider-Man. And they made a fact to put it in the tweet. So it makes it feel like they're not using Spidey.
Okay.
So,
Well,
let's say they're
then let's
sitting
shrug
in
Venom off then.
Let's say they're sitting in a spider-free universe.
Okay, well, again, then I don't know how that's going to work. I think Sony's just trying to desperately get money at this point. As much as I gotta say, Sony's going down, and they are desperately just trying to cling on to anything that they can.
We'll see what happens with Homecoming. That's gonna be the big thing.
Honestly, if Sony keeps flopping, I can definitely see the rights returning to Disney/Marvel.
We'll see how Homecoming does. That's gonna be a big thing. And
but that will continue with what I was trying to say. So the rights, like I said, if Sony flops, I could see them having to no choice but to make that deal with Disney and stop trying to do their own thing as they are hell-bent on doing for some reason.
Yep.
Even though they've had failure after failure, they are determined to continue to fail, apparently. I don't...
God,
anyways.
Man, Sony's gonna hate us.
Anyways, so if they flop again, I could see Marvel, definitely Kevin Feige, coming in and being like, how much money you want, we'll come in and save this.
Tell us when.
And Disney, when they took over Marvel, they were irritated that they didn't have all the rights to all the characters. So that's already a thing, and they've completely invested in Kevin Feige at this point because he's proven his worth.
Oh, he has.
So
and hopefully Jeff Johns in DC.
And Kevin Feige has actually come out and actually said that he definitely wants all the characters back at Marvel.
Of course he does.
And so that is his goal. And so
sure, Fantastic Four should be easy to get.
Yeah, at this point, we can expect Fantastic Four is most likely not going to be with Fox anymore. That's
no.
Because they've already canceled Fantastic Four 2, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So, and we've already seen some Easter eggs for Fantastic Four that we've talked about that they could be coming back. So,
hopefully,
I would say they're a heavy.
Yeah, they're a lock.
They're a good.
They're a lock to come home.
So that's coming in. We've already seen this whole Spidey thing with Sony. If Sony flops again, I'd say everything's going to freaking Marvel.
Yep.
Unless, I could see honestly Disney maybe buying out Sony, possibly. That's a pretty big shot in the dark. But at the way Sony's going, yes, I can see Disney going in and just being like, I'm buying all of you. Like, let's just go. I'm just saying it. Let's be honest.
Wow.
Like, look at the stats for their company. I could see Disney doing it.
Wow. Okay, you heard it here, folks.
Either that or
you heard it here first, folks.
Either that or at least offering a hefty penny to get all of Spider-Man stuff back.
I agree with that. I think they'll offer...
They'll at a bare minimum do that, but it's possible. They might just be like, if they're not willing to give Spider-Man back at all and they're that stubborn, they might just be like, well then fine, let me buy the whole company because I'm tired of your crap. That's just a prediction, but I
don't think they're buying Sony, but yeah, I think they pay.
I think that they definitely want Spider-Man back, and so
I think that's a strong argument to make.
So with that being said, Kevin Feige has also actually come out and also said that he originally the whole TV verse was not going to cross over with the movie verse.
You said it.
He has actually said they will now.
Yep.
Inhumans, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., all of that will be going in. Or the Netflix series will be coming into the movies, which is awesome because that whole theory that Frank Castle was in Winter Soldier in that yellow...
And it ran right into him.
Yeah, because him and Nick Fury have been friends in the past.
Yeah.
So,
which means we could get...
we could get that backstory.
We could get the death scene.
We could go
We could get the death of Captain America.
Yeah, we could go into that. We could go into a Civil War II situation.
death of Captain America.
We could touch on the fact that Kevin Feige has also actually said that things will be different following this phase.
We can get the death of Captain America.
Whatever the fuck's going on over there in his mind.
Oh, I love
Anyways,
it.
but
I have a really bad situation with death of main superheroes for companies.
If Cap doesn't die, they need to do a Secret Empire then.
Yeah, Hail Hydra.
But
come on, Chris, say it.
Anyways, so Kevin Feige's trying to get all the characters back, and I think Fox. The struggle will be getting back X-Men and Deadpool. At this point, with their
Deadpool's going to be the struggle.
With the success of Deadpool and Logan, I don't see Fox giving it up now.
Oh no!
Now again, we already said they'll give up Fantastic Four probably with ease. They'll probably just be like, sure, take them.
I don't.
And I could see
Reed and.
I could see the fact that people were worried about Sony just kind of taking and doing their own Spider-Verse and not doing this deal with MCU. However, I can see that I feel like Spider-Man's going to be in MCU, and that's going to be it.
We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
We will see in years to come. But
let's jump into the last thing we got to talk about, because this is quite a long one.
Yes, we will continue with the
finale
Spider-Man news.
The finale of this week.
I actually think I have a couple other things, but
God, man, you got everything today.
We'll continue with this aspect of Spider-Man. So, the new trailer dropped. The new trailer dropped, and you can see Donald Glover.
Yes.
Is basically...
he is Miles Morales. There's a 92% chance he's Miles Morales.
He literally
I
says...
could say it's a 98.
He says the line, or along the lines of this, to Peter in the trailer. He says, you got to learn to get better at this part of the job. Or you got to get better at this part of the job.
He is Miles Morales. 100% Miles Morales.
That statement alone literally makes it seem like he's already experienced. He's already been there. He's already done that.
He's Miles.
And you look at Peter's friend in the movie. It's literally Gank.
If you don't know who that is,
it's let's see. Look,
go.
I went out, bought a comic here.
He bought issue 16.
Do a research.
Issue of Miles.
So
Miles. Look. Say hello to Gank, everybody.
Look at that. His character looks like the real life take, or the Peter's friend in the movie is the real live action take on of Gank from Spider-Man, from Miles Morales' friend. So there you have it. They literally just changed his name to Ned.
I will say one thing.
That's it.
I will say one thing on the trailer.
Because Peter never had a friend. That's literally Peter
He did have a friend. It was Gwen Stacy, but that was it.
But yeah, so he's in there. So basically, Peter is kind of infused with Miles here.
He is Miles. Movie. He's not infused with him.
And so they're treating Miles like he's the veteran, whereas shouldn't necessarily be the case.
It's got to be a Spider-Verse.
But the thing is also Tony mentored Miles in the whole Civil War II situation, which is interesting that he mentored Peter for the Civil War I in the movies.
He's literally just
He's literally being Miles. It's Miles and Peter put together. It's Miles with Peter's name.
Yeah, I brought up in the trailer that he literally just looks like he's a kid that likes having superpowers. That's not Peter Parker. Peter Parker was a dude who was dressed up like, I'm going to avenge my dead uncle. I'm Batman.
Yeah. And
that's literally what he was.
Yeah, but if Donald Glover is not playing Miles Morales,
then they're wrong.
Then Marvel has completely said an F you to everybody, and Marvel have at that point has definitely just come out and blatantly screwed the fans.
And for those of you who don't know...
So basically, Marvel took what Sony did and screwed us for the third time. Marvel may have not saved us if that's not Miles Morales at this point, because they have just teased the crap out of it. Because before you say what you're going to say, they've come out and said Okay, so they've come out and said that, quote unquote, from John Watts addresses.
Director?
Yeah, I believe he's the director, John Watts. He is, or Joan Watts, or whatever.
Is it Jon?
Jon.
That's John.
Okay. John Watts has come out and said in an interview when asked who Donald Glover is playing, because it still hasn't been announced yet. It just says his name, and that's it. And it says, quote unquote, what John Watts says is, I can't talk about anything like that. That would have been so amazing if I just completely spilled some secret like that by accident. I probably can't say anything. There's a little sniper dot on me at all times, just in case they'll hit me with a tranq dart.
So Frank Castle.
So pretty much, that's a yes. Because if it wasn't Miles Morales, he would blatantly say no. Either that, or he's committed to selling the crap out of Miles Morales being in this movie for basically box office sales at this point. Because as soon as word gets out that that's not Miles Morales, people are going to hate.
Well,
So I'm going to say Miles Morales here. And if they don't, Marvel did a blatant FU for the third time now. They didn't fix what Sony did.
for those of you who don't know and aren't very knowledgeable about the thing with Donald Glover and Miles Morales, he voices Miles Morales in the animated universe, which is why every big fan wanted him to play Miles Morales. There was a petition which I believe had over 3,500 signatures. There were tweets shot at Marvel during the whole process for Homecoming that wanted Miles Morales and Donald Glover in it. So I believe they answered with Donald Glover as Miles Morales in kind of a Spideyverse situation.
I don't see him suiting up in the film.
Oh,
at
no,
all.
no.
But I can see with that scene that you see in the trailer.
I'm in the suit.
I can see with that scene of him in the trailer, him still reference the fact that he is a different version of Spider-Man. And you can see from that scene him saying that to Peter. It looks to me that it's like a mentor, like a veteran kind of talking to the child of, you got to get better at this part of the job.
I could see
And then you see in another scene, a couple scenes later in the trailer, Peter says, I'm intimidating. He says that. And you can see you can see the shoulder of this. It's the same colored shirt of what Donald Glover was wearing in the previous scene. So it's got to be him. It just reversed camera angle. And it's Peter talking back to him. So he's like, I'm intimidating. So it's the veteran Spider-Man talking to the kid Spider-Man here. And I'd say they're working on a Spider-Verse. And if they're not, people are going to be angry.
Well, one thing I wanted to point out is when he's telling him about, you're doing your job, not doing all the job, I could see him kind of bringing up that there's a ton of Spider-Man. Well, and Spider-Pig. I could see him bringing up how many
maybe
Spider-Man
he
there
has
actually
touch base
are.
with.
I could see him touching base with Spidey 2099, Spider-Pig just for the joke. I could see him bringing up other Spider-Man.
And the thing is, I hate to go back to Sony, but actually, if Sony doesn't make that deal with Disney, and after the movies are done with Peter, if Marvel truly is doing a Spider-Verse thing with Miles here, then what you could do is, if it goes back to Sony and they start making their own films with Spider-Man, they could continue with that and do their Spider-Verse, and you could take Tom Holland still being Spider-Man and send him off into one of those other kind of
add in Spider-Pig for the fun.
Yeah, he could go, and that would be why he's not with the Avengers anymore, because maybe he's not in that.
Not in that universe.
Not in that universe anymore. Like, he went off and did his own thing. So Marvel, if they did that, not only did they possibly expand their own universe by making Spider-Verse in there, they honestly could have just saved Sony.
Sadly,
they could have just saved Sony, because once that deal expires, Sony can capitalize on that.
They could. They could have just saved Sony.
They could have just saved Sony now. So actually, I think I'm going to go back on what I said.
Oh my God, he's going back again.
Sony could screw themselves. Disney could get it. Or Disney could actually save Sony. So many possibilities. So many possibilities.
Is that everything we gotta touch on
So,
today?
Another thing that I'd like to say on the Spider-Man thing.
We're running out of time, man.
There is no time limit.
I got 36 minutes left on my computer.
No. Anyways, we have a young Aunt May. So there's
the young Aunt May.
Nobody knows why we have a young Aunt May.
Everybody's confused why we have a young Aunt May.
But I looked into it for you guys.
You did?
That's looked into it. I did everybody
so
a
nice.
favor.
You looked into why there is an attractive young Aunt May.
It's not just for sex appeal for Tony Stark. It's not just for another love interest. Since we don't have Pepper anymore. Unless she returns. But it's not for that.
What's it for?
Could be straight theory here.
Oh,
it could
man,
be
when you go into theory.
She's in the age gap. She's in the where she could have been a retired SHIELD agent. Or she's in that thing where she can come out of retirement and be a SHIELD agent in order to help protect Peter when she finds out he's Spider-Man. She could be... Marvel could be changing her story and she could be a SHIELD agent.
I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Especially thinking that Kevin Feige has also said that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to come back into the movie
they're all going
scene.
to do this. I mean...
I could see it.
I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm not going to say you're right because I could see him doing it. I just don't like the idea of a young Ant-Man.
But that's the only thing that... I don't either. I think that she should be older.
So weird.
But my point is now that they've cast young Aunt May for whatever freaking reason, if you don't do... Like, I think
you got to do something with it. That's
you have to capitalize because otherwise, why? What was the point of casting young Aunt May? So I think that with this theory, if Marvel does this route, if they see this theory on the internet, which I hope they do, if they don't already have this in store, they should roll with it because that would at least make sense to us why they cast a young Aunt May. I mean, because you're not going to have some old lady being an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know?
No, you're not.
So, a young Aunt May...
Unless it's like a Agent Peggy situation where she's just magically able to do it.
Yeah, so... I mean...
She's a Peggy Carter situation. She shows up out of nowhere and just can suddenly be an agent again.
Anyways, so... That's something to think about going into the movie.
That'll be an interesting thing.
I don't see them touching on that in the first film, but later on they could touch on she is an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm just never going to forget.
Heck, they could touch on that in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series.
I'm just never going to forget when Aunt May showed up on screen and there was a guy in the theater going, she was... Or, what was it? There was a dude in the theater that I think was behind us.
I think he literally just said, she's freaking hot.
Yeah, it was something to that effect. It was either that or something else. And it was Aunt May's hot! And it was extremely audible. And
because I want to say it was one of those times where, you know, when everything went dead silent. Yeah. But I don't know if he did it on purpose.
I think he did. I think he was just saying it.
Yeah, and it was one of those times where the theater went silent at that particular moment. It was like transitioning.
I think it was exactly the scene where Peter kind of first sees them, and it's that right after she says, "Oh, that's Tony Stark." And then he says it, and oh my, that was great. It was a great moment in the theater. But yeah, that's the only thing I ever remember now seeing it.
So hopefully
there is a reason.
So she's possibly an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., so it's something to think about.
So is there anything else you need to touch on before we run out of battery life here?
Oh, it's in my notes. So let's see. Stan Lee said in a recent interview, there is another Avenger that will be appearing in the third Avengers film who we have not seen yet.
Wonder Man?
And it is somebody that the fans will be excited about. Now, multiple theories.
Unless it's Hugh Jackman, I ain't excited.
So, multiple theories here.
Well, you get that.
And guess what? Something I've talked about for weeks.
Well, you get that set up. Stay excited. I gotta plug in my charger because we're gonna run out of battery life.
Anyways, So, let's see. So, Namor is a big pick for the person that it could be. Because this would be a fitting time for him to come into the play. Because Thanos is basically going to destroy the world. And it's a good time for him to show up. So it is possible that Namor could finally come into the picture, and something that's hinting at that is Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout Ride has opened up in Disneyland.
Yeah, I heard about that. The ride shows some spoilers.
In the ride, there is these, from the collector, because it's the collector's new place,
of course.
So it shows basically this stuff that's like artifacts from under the ocean, and
your favorite guy's there. Isn't he? Your favorite guy's there?
In the ocean, I guess, but I mean...
Probably.
Whatever. Anyways, so it says in it that it was found in the terrain... Wait.
Terrain.
Yeah, terrain...
T-E-R-I-A-N.
Terrain ocean. Which terrain... Well, no.
I wanted to see the spelling.
I think I have it spelled wrong because I just did it off. But the point is it's the term that was used in Guardians of the Galaxy referring to humans. It's another term used for humans.
Oh,
so it's found in human waters.
Oh, Terraria. Or Terra. There we go. Because it was like terra firma.
Terrain or... Yeah. So, something along those lines. Starts with a T.
I think it was Terra.
So it's another term for humans. So basically it was found in human waters, aka Earth. So therefore... Where the frick would it be? You know? It's in the freaking water. So there's your hint, yet again, for Namor. And now,
what else you got?
Not only could it be Namor, it could be Sentry. Because there is a Walking Dead actor that has posted a photo of him with a bunch of Sentry comics. Now, either he's just getting into Sentry comics for the heck of it, maybe he's preparing for a role. Or maybe he's doing a role. Maybe he's doing a like he's going
casting.
Yeah, he's going for casting.
Or he's teasing. I mean, may just be trolling.
It's possible.
I mean, we've seen that plenty of times with people.
I mean, there are people that try to do like campaigns to play a character, and we've
seen that plenty. We've talked about it plenty.
That doesn't happen like for a while or whatever, but. So, it could be Sentry, it could be Namor, it could be Wonder Man, because we already know Nathan Fillion is playing Wonder Man.
He's coming in at some point.
It got cut out of Guardians of the Galaxy, so they could fill him in into Avengers.
Well, we know he is going to be in the movies at some point. We just don't know exactly
So he's coming in.
So he right now is my number one choice because we know he's coming in.
I don't know, they've had a lot of hints for Namor a lot lately.
Well, I'm just saying...
Seems to be coming out.
I'm just saying my number one to come straight into a movie, the earliest, is Wonder Man.
Yeah, Sentry's on the bottom of those people that I listed.
Namor's probably middle for me.
Namor's my one.
Well, that's because you were like fanboying over Namor.
Namor's my number one pick. But yeah, apparently when Stan Lee was in the interview, his like agent or somebody like came over and kind of like made him stop.
Oh, of course they did, because that man would spoil everything if he could. That man would literally just give you the entire script.
Because he's the watcher. He sees all and knows all.
Well, mainly, I just think he wants to tell all.
But he was trying to tell the other watchers, but they walked away.
Exactly. Well, that's because they know it already. You don't have to tell them.
Anyways, that's all the news I got.
That's all the news for today?
Yeah.
Well, okay, an hour and a half in, just about, and there was a lot of news to talk about, whether it was Batman, Spider-Man, Sony being bashed by you again, your boy Namor.
I had mixed feelings. I was yin and yang in it.
Yeah, much.
I bipolared it.
Much more mixed than normal.
No. I had a multi-personality. One personality likes it, the other one doesn't.
Not a good thing to have.
I'm Legion.
God.
That's something we haven't talked about.
No, it's not. But we talked about a lot once again. Prayers and concerns over to the Snyder family for all the stuff they've gone through the past couple months. And remember, guys, you don't have to know everything to call yourself a nerd.